Jontay Porter was in debt with the mob. Some insane details have been revealed on one of the craziest stories in Toronto Raptors history, as Jontay Porter's co-conspirators have now been uncovered, and one was caught trying to flee the country with a ton of gambling earnings recently, which has led to investigators revealing more and more information on this entire Jontay Porter situation, including his mob ties, the real reason why he ended up going to extreme measures to sabotage his NBA career, and just a ton of new insane details regarding this situation. So we're gonna dive into them all in this video, but before we do, folks, you guys have been crushing it, hitting that subscribe button. It means the world to me. If you guys want to stay up to date with everything regarding the Toronto Raptors this off season, make sure you guys keep it locked to Raptors Digest. Hit that subscribe button because we're delivering daily Toronto Raptors coverage. But let's dive into what's been going on. So basically, I'll do a little recap, a brief recap on what happened with this Jontay Porter situation if you're not familiar. Essentially, Jontay Porter was frankly a success story for the Toronto Raptors. During a tumultuous year, we're all looking for guys to root for, cool stories, guys to get behind. And Jontay Porter was a dude that dealt with injuries over the course of his NBA career and basketball career in general, but was definitely an NBA talent. He's brothers of Michael Porter Jr., won an NBA championship with the Denver Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. didn't end up getting a max contract, so lots of money coming into the fam, which obviously affects the whole betting situation and stuff. Well, I guess it didn't with Jontay Porter, but Porter came in, was signed by the Toronto Raptors, was given an opportunity, and people were happy, people were excited, and then just completely threw it away. Essentially, a couple of games last season where Jontay Porter mysteriously went out with injuries and reasons that are easily fakeable. A bunch of people made a ton of money betting the unders on Jontay Porter leaving those games, and he was invested because of irregular betting activity on his specific prop bets and stuff. So essentially, there's money lines and betting. Someone might have predicted the line might be at, hey, Jontay Porter, will he score over 5 points or under 5 points? And people can bet one way or the other in that situation. And essentially, Jontay Porter would leave the game with 4 or 5 minutes into the game, obviously would score under that sort of line, and then people made a ton of money betting the under on that. So some insider betting happening, and then Jontay Porter ended up getting banned from the league because it was provable that he was actively betting against the Toronto Raptors in some specific games, had a side account where he was making some money betting in NBA action. So big no-no in the NBA. He was kicked out of the league. Well, things ended up getting way more insane, as an article from the New York Post essentially breaks down some wild details regarding this situation, essentially revealing a Brooklyn man was busted for allegedly teaming up with a former Toronto Raptors forward who was banned from the NBA for life due to sports gambling to place bets on games he knew the disgraced NBA player was going to throw. The Feds said Tuesday, Long Fi Fam, who's 38, also known as Bruce, was nabbed Monday while trying to board a flight from the JFK International Airport to Australia on a one-way ticket, according to a complaint filed in Brooklyn federal court. So essentially, one of Jontay's co-conspirators, who was involved in this whole sort of scheme, was trying to flee the country, get out with a ton of different money, which is pretty wild. It's a bold sort of move to go while you're in investigation, things like that. But basically, the article went on to say he's accused of working with Jontay Porter, who's 24, to place prop bets, also known as propositional or wagers placed on players' performance, like betting the over-under of a certain statistical category, such as points, rebounds, assists, whatever. And federal prosecutors allege that Porter had racked up a large gambling debts in the beginning of the year to the co-conspirators, and he was encouraged to clear those debts by throwing games in order for certain bets to hit. And this part of the story is absolutely insane. So essentially, Jontay Porter, signed to the Toronto Raptors midway through this year. Earlier this season, racked up a ton of gambling debt with these co-conspirators. We have a picture of them here right now. Their faces are kind of blacked out in this image, but apparently this is the 3 guys that Jontay Porter ended up owing money to. Essentially, Jontay Porter owed these dudes a ton of different money, and they encouraged him to throw games for the Toronto Raptors, which is ridiculous. It's pretty insane that this sort of mob group, this sort of gambling ring of people were. He was indebted to. I guess they loaned him money to bet money or did some things. I don't really know how the specifics of this work, but they encouraged him to throw games for the Toronto Raptors in order to pay back his debt. So it wasn't even Jontay Porter trying to make some extra bread, make some extra money. This dude was in debt with the mob. This dude was in debt with people that are out here trying to make threats, I guess, to him to get their money back and things like that. Absolutely ridiculous. The story gets even more and more crazy. Essentially, in this case, Porter, a journeyman between the Raptors and their G League affiliate, allegedly told fam that he was going to take himself out early in the January 26th game against the Los Angeles Clippers, claiming he was injured, the feds have said. So that was proven, I guess. Jontay Porter being a dude that was just a role player for the Toronto Raptors, couldn't throw the games, frankly, because he wasn't that much of an impact guy, but could do the prop bet situation, which is pretty bananas, which is pretty crazy there. Love those lines. And then essentially, later on April 4th, the same day that Porter was banned for life from basketball for betting on games, he allegedly texted the group chat and told them that they might just get hit with a RICO, referring to a racketeering charge, before asking them if they deleted all the stuff from their personal cell phones. So essentially, even after he was banned, he was still trying to keep these guys out of debt. I don't know how what they had on him, what they were willing to do, what this situation came to, but it ended up getting messy for this. For him to go through with this, they must have been throwing some pretty crazy sort of, I don't want to say threats to the situation, but this group of guys is apparently the mob group that are out here trying to collect their debts, trying to collect their money from Jontay Porter, which is just absolutely insane to think about. The Raptors brought him in. At least it was in a season where the Raptors were pretty willing to lose games. It wasn't that big of an impact on the team's bottom line. But oh my god, it's just crazy. It's just crazy, especially for a dude that was actually playing pretty solid for the Toronto Raptors. I mean, the overall stats weren't great. 4.4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Shot 33% from the field, 38% from the 38% from the field, 33% behind the 3-point line. Some of his games were solid. He's also just 24 years old. Again, these are skewed by some games he only got some garbage time, and some games where he took himself out early and things like that. But you could see definitely on some nights there were some bad performances from Jontay Porter. I mean, he was a minus 24 against New Orleans Pelicans, minus 23 against Utah Jazz, minus 11 against Houston. Again, the Raptors were pretty bad, so I mean, it makes sense that he has a minus in certain stretches, but this is in not a lot of minutes in a lot of these games. So, Jontay Porter did drop some stinkers on, while he was on the Toronto Raptors for the squad, for the team, and it's just insane to think that, we had a guy on our roster that was being paid, or at least not even being paid, not even trying to actively, make some bread off of the losing and stuff, trying to pay off gambling debts. I don't know how you vet for that. I don't know how Masai, Ujiri, Bobby Webster could have prevented this situation with him coming in, but it's absolutely ridiculous that someone was on the Toronto Raptors just being told by this random group of dudes. I find this picture just crazy to look at. These guys just at this, food restaurant, trying to make some bread. I don't know. Just an insane story. It continues to get even crazier. Let me know what you guys think about this entire Jontay Porter story. You guys best thing as far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'm signing it out. Cheers.